All right, I'm in ranting mode. Originally, this episode was going to be about Canada's secondary suite loan program that they just announced, where you can get $80,000 to help build a secondary suite in your house. That's supposed to increase the amount of suites and affordable suites available. But it's been busy, especially for around Christmas, and I've been showing a lot, and I've been noticing some certain patterns that have just been driving me nuts lately. So, here are three things that are costing you money and not helping with getting your house sold.
Rockstar Realtor 協賛業者があなたを守ります。人の顔の見えない不動産著者から彼はある私のドリフト。そうです、彼は私たち全員が家売るために必要なヒーローです。彼は魅力的でオールドスパイスのような香りがする新しい家を買うなら、または前の所有者によって完全に破壊されていない古い家。彼に電話するかテキストメッセージを送ってください。最近詐欺電話が落ちのでできればテキストメッセージ不信じ。ロックスターリアンタ夜にはあなたの夢を見る。
Caffeine. So, we will talk later about the secondary suite loan program on this channel. And what we're going to do when we do that is we're going to go through a little case study that I usually do with my McEwen students regarding feasibility and profitability of having your own secondary suite. But today, I want to talk a little bit about some certain behaviors that I've seen recently that are costing realtors' clients the ability to sell their house or are costing them money while they're selling their house. And there's three big things that I've noticed here that I want to talk about. Now, I want to preface this by saying it's not always the realtor that is doing this. We as realtors have a direct responsibility to our clients, and that means what they say, even if we don't necessarily agree with it or we counsel them differently, has to go. Their word has to be the word that we act upon, unless it's illegal, of course, which means that this isn't always the realtors that are responsible for doing these bad habits that are costing sales and costing money on sales, but sometimes it is. So, if you're looking at listing your house, make sure you and your realtor are avoiding these bad behaviors and using best practices, because otherwise it could cost you showings, it could cost you offers, and it could cost you money on those offers. Number one, take your phone calls, take your text messages, take your emails, reply to your showing time requests. One of the things that's really difficult is when you have a buyer who's shopping and they want to see stuff and you're trying to plan for like later in the evening or tomorrow evening or Saturday or whenever, and you have a nice little route lined up of three or four houses, and one person's just not responding to you. Or they make it very difficult for you to be able to put in a showing request. We use an app called Showing Time. Showing Time allows you to simply pick that property you want to see and immediately send a push notification to the other realtor so that they can verify that showing time and say like, okay, you're good to go in and do this on such and such time and such day. When you wait a really long time for a response or you make it difficult to get a hold of somebody, so if you're not using showing time and you're like, hey, you have to text this number for showings or you have to call this person in this office somewhere else, if you're planning a big day out, you're going to just end up skipping that because you want to be able to put your stops close together timing wise. You're trying to plan all of this. And if you're just not getting a response on that, you might choose to go somewhere else, or you might choose to see something else, or just skip it altogether. Now, one of the things that I recognize is that for an occupied place, you're going to have to contact the occupant first in order to verify access to that unit. So the two things that could be done better here are, number one, the realtor should be responsive and using showing time to book showings. And number two, if you're selling your place and you know that your realtor is going to be contacting you about showings, make yourself available to just check your phone, check your text messages, or get calls so that you can respond to those quickly, because you don't want to miss a showing. You never know when that showing could be the one that sells your place. I don't think any buyer representative realtors are expecting something ridiculous like you answer your phone at like midnight or in the hospital, the birth of your first child, or you're undergoing surgery. But I think, there is a certain amount of turnover time that we expect during the day. If I'm waiting 4 and 6 hours a day to get a response, I'm going to start questioning what's going on. You could have probably checked your phone even once during the day, anyways. I mean, we want to make things as easy for the people that might want to buy the property as possible. We don't want to put any barriers between them showing or them making an offer. Obviously, we want to make it as easy as possible. Number two, don't be lazy with your offers. What do I mean by that? If you get an offer, there is a certain amount of time that's going to be on that written offer that says how long you have to accept, reject, or make a formal counter proposal. Honestly, this may be one thing where waiting and putting a little more effort into it is better than, picking the higher of the two, or just being like, it's close enough. When you have an offer, don't be afraid to counter and see where it goes. It's unlikely that it would be directly rejected. If you get an offer and you're considering it and you're making a counter proposal, obviously that's better than just not doing anything about it. Let's say you have two offers. Are you just going to pick the higher one? A lot of people might say yes, and a client might instruct you to say yes, but this is where I would counsel differently. And this is where I think it's costing you money. Let's say you get an offer and then you get a second offer that's higher. Don't just pick the higher of the two. Go back to them and with some sort of counter and see what you can get. It's important to note that no regulation exists. In fact, it's the opposite, that says that you have to mention that you're in a multiple offer situation. You don't have to disclose that you have multiple offers unless your client says they'd like to disclose it. But I don't see a lot of times where that would be advantageous. If you have a certain amount of time, instead of just picking the higher of the two, go back and say, hey, we have another offer. You don't necessarily have to say what it is, but here's our counter. And instead of just being like, we have another offer, do you want to revise your offer? Because that doesn't tell me anything. Is it higher? Is it lower? What are the terms like? Do we want possession earlier than your person wants possession? Do we more or less conditions? Do we want less time to remove conditions? Like, there are other things that are advantageous in an offer than just the money, especially if you're selling your place and you're buying another place and you want to be out at a certain time and in at a certain time. Why not try to counter that offer before the deadline and see if you can get that above the other offer that you had come in? And if they don't go for it, you still have the second offer you can accept. So it doesn't make sense to me to just say, hey, we've got another offer, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it. And I'll leave it up to you if you want to make your offer a little higher. Great. I've got absolutely nothing to go on. Or if you're not going to tell me, you're probably going to cost your client several thousands of dollars. Shoot straight. If you want more money out of it, just ask for more money out of it and see where you get. And that leaves me to three. Don't play games. I have colleagues that are realtors that sell 100 homes a year. they're not out there playing games about what do their clients really think about this place. So don't tell them exactly what you're thinking because that doesn't help anybody. Very similar to purchasing a car. One of the things that experts say if you're going to purchase a car is you walk into a dealership and you say, this is what I want, and this is the price that I want. And if I get these things, then I will buy this car today. If I kind of ho and hum, it's very hard to get a sense of what that client wants and is thinking. You're probably on the other side thinking, well, it's a numbers game. I don't want them to think I'm interested because maybe they can get more out of me. Well, no, I mean, that's what the negotiation process is for. You can absolutely say, I'm very interested and this is what I'm willing to pay. There's nothing that binds those people to charging you more money than you'd necessarily want to pay just because you said they were interested in their property. You can say, yeah, I'm interested and I want to make a deal. And if the numbers work, we could very well see ourselves buying this place. If the numbers aren't there, then you can try and work in a place where the numbers work. If you don't think that the place is of value that they're asking for, consult with your realtor because, they're the one that's out in the market and they can say, like, yeah, this place is above market, or no, this place is below market. And maybe it's been a while since you bought a house, and it's actually like, this is what the market is, and this is what these houses go for now. But it's okay to like talk to your realtor and get your realtor to negotiate with the other realtor and say, like, we are interested in this house, but we just don't think it's worth that much. And, maybe you come to an agreement that works for everybody. It doesn't help to sit around and play games about like, oh, we're not going to act like we're interested, or we have another offer and we're not going to tell the other people what that offer is. We're just going to see if they pony up more money. No, make the counter. Like I said, number two, because that what happens. The other side walks away because you're not being straight with them, and they're just like, well, it's very difficult for me to know what is going to please these sellers. I'm not getting a sense here that this can necessarily be negotiated. Be a good negotiator. I'm saying this like as if it's like select the right realtor that's going to do these habits, but it's really also important for the client to know that because you instruct what the realtor does, you should definitely listen to your realtor about what their counsel is, but you should also be prepared to maybe be in these habits frame of mind that encourages sales. So again, you're going to make yourself available to respond to showing requests, and you're going to ensure that your realtors, responding to those showing requests because you want people going through and seeing your place. If you find that you have an offer or you're in a multiple offer situation and you wanted to get more out of that offer, then counter and ask for more. Don't act weird about it. Put that number out. It is very hard to negotiate a deal where nobody says the number that they're thinking. Say the number that you're thinking. Just say it and we'll see if it works for us. The worst we can do is say no, and then it's back to the drawing board. Like I said, no games, be straight, ask for what you want. The realtors that are out there selling 100 houses, they're not playing games. They don't have time to, and that's why they're so successful. The realtors that are out there saying, I sell over 99% of list price, those realtors aren't playing games. They're out there saying, no, this is the number that you're going to pay in negotiations. And they're not obscuring if they have multiple offers or not. If you want a successful sale, you're going to be a straight shooter. Choose a realtor that has these good habits, and when you're the client, insist on these habits. That is my best advice to get the most out of your real estate transaction. If you or anyone you know are looking to buy or sell a residential property, contact me, the Rockstar Realtor. You can find me at www.rangerealty.ca or email me at ryan.williams@remax.net. It's coming up on the holidays, so I really hope that you and yours have a safe, warm, and happy Christmas, New Year's, holiday season, or whatever you should celebrate, and just really enjoy the season with your friends and family. Thank you.